Casamento was born November 16, 1920, in Manhattan, New York. He enlisted in the Marine Corps on August 19, 1940, in New York City. After completing recruit training at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot Parris Island, South Carolina, he was assigned to the 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division. 6 months after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the 5th Marines was on its way to the Southwest Pacific to take part in the initial invasion of Japanese-held territory as part of the 1st Marine Division. The Marine landing on Guadalcanal began in August 1942 and CPL Casamento made the assault with Company D, 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. On November 1, 1942, while serving as a leader of a machine gun squad in an attack on Japanese positions, CPL Casamento's Marines came under heavy enemy fire near the Matanico River. During the ensuing battle, all members of the unit were either killed or severely wounded. Despite his own multiple wounds, CPL Casamento continued to provide supporting fire and heroically held the enemy at bay, thereby protecting the flanks of adjoining companies until he was physically unable to continue. Corporal Casamento was treated at a medical aid station, then shipped back to the United States and admitted to the Naval Hospital in Oakland, California. In 1964, it was learned that 2 eyewitnesses to CPL Casamento's heroism were still alive. That set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately result in his receiving the Medal of Honor in 1980. Corporal Casamento died July 18, 1987, in the VA hospital in Northport, New York, after a long illness. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving with Company D, 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division on Guadalcanal, British Solomon Islands, in action against the enemy Japanese forces on November 1, 1942. Serving as a leader of a machine gun section, Corporal Casamento directed his unit to advance along a ridge near the Matanico River where they engaged the enemy. He positioned his section to provide covering fire for 2 flanking units and to provide direct support for the main force of his company which was behind him. During the course of this engagement, all members of his section were either killed or severely wounded and he himself suffered multiple, grievous wounds. Nonetheless, Corporal Casamento continued to provide critical supporting fire for the attack and in defense of his position. Following the loss of all effective personnel, he set up, loaded, and manned his unit's machine gun, tenaciously holding the enemy forces at bay. Corporal Casamento single-handedly engaged and destroyed 1 machine gun emplacement to his front and took under fire the other emplacement on the flank. Despite the heat and ferocity of the engagement, he continued to man his own weapon and repeatedly repulsed multiple assaults by the enemy forces, thereby protecting the flanks of the adjoining companies and holding his position until the arrival of his main attacking force. Corporal Casamento's courageous fighting spirit, heroic conduct, and unwavering dedication to duty reflected great credit upon himself and were in keeping with the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.